Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh!
We'll win this together.
Incineration. Incineration. The hatchling.
We don't have long.
Alright, new build time. And this time I wanted to build something around the new sword, the Dread Captain's Cutlass. The Cutlass itself is a weapon that you can craft in the allflame mechanic, and it has some very interesting mods in general. And one of them is trigger level 20 Ghost Artillery when you attack with this weapon. This means whenever we attack, we summon a cannon. And the more projectiles you have, each extra projectile will spawn another cannon. In this case, we are a deadeye with 2 additional projectiles. We have 1 additional projectile on the weapon, luckily enough. And we also have 2 additional projectiles from Fury Valve. On top of that, Fury Valve will also split projectiles, so it will be even more projectiles than we already have. All these projectiles then return, and for some reason this Ghost Artillery skill can shotgun if you are standing correctly, which I rarely am, but the damage is good enough. On the other hand, the main weapon itself has a very poor base damage, and thus you kind of need some kind of scaling. In this case, Shape Touched. Shape Touch has 2 different mods you can get, one which has 2 to 4 fire damage per 10 strength, or the 2 to 4 cold damage per dexterity, 10 dexterity. So in this case I wanted to do a dexterity stacking deadeye and spawn as many cannons as I possibly can without screwing my damage. So currently it looks like this, and every time I attack, these cannons will fire, over and over and over again. These cannons have a cooldown of 0.15 seconds, so you need a attack time of around 6 attacks a second to properly keep the cooldown intact with, well, in sync with your attack speed. I am slightly overcapped on the attack speed when I have frenzy charges, so this build isn't exactly optimized, but it's still fun. So, since this is only a free link, we can then use a squire to add another free links to our main hand. So in this case I have added cold damage support, cold pen, return projectiles, crit, and elemental damage with attacks. The rest of the gear is just dexterity and resistances. We are extreme resistant starved. We are heavily invested into attributes on both rings and belts just to maintain the strength requirements. And since we're on the right side of the tree, we basically only have dexterity. So in this case, we have 1300 dexterity, which is equivalent to around 200 to 400 flat cold on the weapon itself. With all this cold damage, we of course freeze if we build into crit, which I have, and we can also snag from the Warden of Winter, which basically perma-freezes enemies in general, unless you deal way too little damage, but that's risky content, and we don't do that with this character. I have been able to delve
One at a time.
somewhat around 400 with this character. It's actually fairly smooth until you get to a boss. Single target, specifically survivability, is pretty harsh. We are just pure evasion with spell suppression. There's no damage taken as on this. I guess I could take it on the body armor. And we only have one less damage per 230 dexterity, which is, was this, like 10% less damage-ish. I guess I could add a cluster jewel to get endurance charges when I'm hit, but that's only 3 endurance charges, and that's equivalent to 12% damage reduction to both elemental and physical. Might be a good shout when I'm thinking about it, but I'm fairly socket starved. We are of course using a brutal restraint just to get extra dexterity from everything nearby and try to get as much percent dexterity as possible. I am using Spectral Throw. You can use whatever skill you want. I was initially using Double Strike of the Momentum, is that it? Yeah, because this has a ridiculous attack speed. Like, really fast. But I thought that maybe I will deal more damage considering this is a projectile, and since I'm stacking projectile crit and so on, just Spectral Throw might just be easier to use, and it has been feeling quite a bit easier because I can stand from a distance instead of being point blank. And since this build is so squishy, a projectile attack would actually help. I'm also using Leap Slam to travel around, and the reason why I'm using Leap Slam is because Whirling Assault, I think it is, doesn't work with the cannons for some reason. So whenever I'm jumping around with Leap Slam, you see I'm triggering these cannons, and did I remove the Whirling? Yeah, I removed it. Anyhow, Whirling Assault doesn't work, it doesn't trigger the cannons at all. The gloves, I have Rage on attack hit and Cold Exposure on hit, just to boost the damage a little bit more. And that's the gear. Of course, we have a lighter meaning with cold damage nearby. My next 3 levels would probably go into Mark of Prey, considering we have a mark on hit Assassin's Mark in this build. I haven't even qualityed these up yet, but it is what it is. The Spectrifier, on the other hand, I forgot to talk about this as well, is also just a damage support for our main skill. In this case we're using Bone Chill support to inflict chill and Unbound Ailments to improve the effect of the chill. And then we're also using the new Causing Current, which states that if we chill, and then we will also inflict a shock of equivalent value. And we'll also use power charge on crit just to get power charges to maintain crit capped. Since we only really want additional projectiles and far shot, considering projectiles travel forwards and back, and if it hits on the way back, it's quite a bit travel, so that should be max damage on the far shot, if I understand it correctly. We'll also use mark effect just because some more survivability, and the last point is really up to you. You could go into gathering wind, you can remove the mark effect completely, go into wind ward for even more survivability. This might actually be the better choice, but I might honestly do that. But then again, if I do that, I'm no longer crit capped. But I decided to go with Farrell's Ascendancy just to really become crit capped by using the Spectral Tigers. So if you want some more survivability, remove the focal point and add it to the wind ward. And of course remove the hunt lead as well. That's the build. It's really fun. It can do the normal pinnacle content, but not uber. It's very squishy, but the clear is really fun. You can easily do this on a strength stacker by just getting the 2 to 4 fire damage on this weapon per 10 strength, with Crown of Ice and Iron Will to scale it a lot better. You will have a lot more damage doing this, and probably be even more tankier, but my main focus was shit out a lot of projectiles, and I think I've managed to do this. Thank you for this showcase, and I'll see you in the next one.